first female black Republican woman. Kathy, great to see you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on.
All right, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Jeff. When the committee meets this weekend, those party faithful, what's the Kathy Barnette pitch?
Listen, there is nothing more important than winning. Most people do circles and applauding themselves when they get their candidate through the primary, but the primary is not the battle. The battle is the general, and there's nothing more important. And we got to think about it. What are Democrats working on right now? About 5 top things, whether it's H.R. 1 or H.R. 4, their equivalent in the Senate, whether getting rid of the filibuster, statehood for D.C., or this Senate seat right here in Pennsylvania. And they don't need all 5 things in order to fundamentally change our nation. And by fundamentally change, I mean screw it up for good. They don't need all 5. They just need one of them. So we have to be very serious. And let's think about, what are Democrats going to run on in the general? Are they going to run on inflation? Are they going to run on trying to force people to take a jab that they may or may not want to take? Are they going to run on the high energy prices, or Afghanistan, or what's going on in China or elsewhere? No, they're not. They're going to run on racism. They're going to run on everybody. I mean, we know what they're going to run on. And when my very presence, when I walk into a room, not just because of how I grew up, I didn't look at a book in order to understand what poverty is. I know exactly what it is. I know exactly what I did to come out of it. This is the greatest nation on the planet, but we need to do a better job in picking the right candidate to run on the Republican ticket.
So fair enough. And I agree. I think you've got a great story and great issues. Totally agree with you on both of those. But at the end of the day, campaigns cost money and they take organization. Explain to me right now. I mean, with all due respect, I looked at your last filing right now. You don't have the money right now to compete statewide. And you do need to win the primary if you're going to get to that general.
Yeah, and yet I am competing and doing quite well. If you look at each of the independent polls that have been taken, I am in the top 2 of every single poll. I think there's been about 7 or 8 of them. Why is that? My team, we have a very effective grassroots team all across the state. We're doing over 1,000 miles a week. That's over 1,000 miles a week. No, I cannot write $3 million out of my personal checking account. But what I am doing is working. No one will outwork me, and our message is the better message. Hence the reason why out of all 7 or 8 of those polls, I'm in the top. In the top 2, I've had a very strong showing out of the overwhelming majority of the polls. I won the Northwest poll, straw poll that was taken. We're doing very well. In the past, the model has always been sit in your room, make phone calls for 8 hours out of the day, raise a lot of money, save it, and blow it all in the last month of the election. But today I am traveling over 1,000 miles a week across the Commonwealth. And in every room I walk into, more than half of the people in those rooms are brand new to politics. They've never been involved in politics before 2020. There's a lot of new blood. People are alert and awake. They're not waiting till the month before the primary to figure out who's running. They're already engaged. People are upset. People are unnerved by this totalitarian takeover of our nation. And they are already engaged, and they're already deciding who is going to be their candidate. They are looking for a fighter. We have spent the last 2 years, if you wanted to be a leader over the last 2 years, you have had ample opportunity to be a leader. And now we have all of these Johnny-come-latelys talking about how they're going to fight and defend for this nation. Where have you been? I was fighting in 2016. I was fighting in 2020, and I'm continuing to fight. The Republican Party need new blood, new attitude to come in. I'm not only just doing it for myself. I am going into the Amish community. Go to my Facebook at Kathy Barnette for Senate. You will see me in a room full of Amish people who are applauding me. I am going into the Black community. I'm doing what it takes to win.
No question. No one will doubt that you're a fighter. Kathy, best of luck this weekend. It was great to see you.
Thank you, Sean.